Hello, hello, hello. I think I got all my technology worked out. Welcome to our Tuesday Night Live. Okay, today is September 30th, and I made it, y'all. I made it. I had a lot going on today, and I was like, let me make sure I make it home. Okay, and so I made it home. Let me make sure I got all my platforms up. There we go. Okay, so I can see Instagram, I can see YouTube, and I can see TikTok. First of all, to all my YouTube people, y'all know that y'all are the TDF tribe, and y'all listen. I'm grateful that you guys are here because we're gonna have a good time tonight. Last week, when I went live last week, I told y'all that I was gonna be consistent. So I said, let me keep my word and show up. So today I am live. But I'm not gonna lie to y'all, my energy is low. My energy is so low. My bed looked amazing. Okay, my bed looked like it needed me. My bed looked like it needed me. But I did make you guys a promise. So I am here. I'm happy to be here. Hey, TikTok. Hey, Instagram. Hey, TDF. We are going to have fun tonight. And we're going to do things a little bit different tonight. Okay. We're going to do things a little bit different. We've been talking about, in the Daily Fix, we have been talking about all month about leadership. And my tribe who knows me knows I practice what I preach. And one of the things I do say is that you have to show up, you have to balance showing up for other people and showing up for yourself, right? So as today, I recognize that my energy is low, okay? Um, but I still want to show up for you guys. So we're going to do things a little bit different. It'll be fun this time. It'll look like the Q&A, but I'll explain it later. Okay. All right. So we're going to have fun tonight. So for everybody joining in TikTok, hello, you guys. I'm glad you guys are here. If this is your first time joining, your first time catching a live, hi, hello. I'm happy that you're here. My name is Brittainy Noel, and I am a therapist out of Houston, Texas. All right, I've been practicing for a little bit over 10 years now. And so welcome. All right, when I go live, we normally do a big Q&A, and you guys ask me questions, and I give you answers. Look, my alarm is going off right now. Because I said, I promise you, I'm going to make it this week. I was dead set on making it live this week. All right. I kept my promise. All right. So, yes. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to take a few questions, but I'm going to take them in a little bit different way than we normally do. The only announcements that I have is our gala. All right. We do have the gala coming up on January 16th and 17th here in Houston, Texas. My morning meetup community, the Daily Fix, is where you want to be if you ever want to work with me. If you're ever wondering, how can I work with her? I want to be able to, sit under her. I want to be able to learn from her. I go live in the Daily Fix every morning, Monday through Friday. My tribe we're talking about different things every month. So every month is a new theme. For the month of September, we've been talking about leadership from an emotional intelligence perspective. So, teaching them how to be leaders in their lives, in their families, in their communities, in their jobs, wherever you are, you're a leader, right? So, how do I lead while being emotionally intelligent, and what does that look like? So, that's the conversation we've been having for the month of September. So, when you join, not only do you get access to our live calls every morning, but you also get access to all of the content that we've been doing all year, right? So, well, I'm sorry, not all year, for the last, almost 3 years, we've been doing the Daily Fix. So you get access to the relationship content, you get access to the healing content, you get access to the purpose content, you get access to the communication content, you get access to the series that we did specifically for men. You get access to all of the content. We have money sessions in there. I focus on the whole person, healing the whole person. And so when you join the Daily Fix, you get access to it all. So I want to invite you to join the Daily Fix, become a part of the community, become a part of the tribe. TDF will tell you, okay, we be doing some work in there. All right. So join the Daily Fix, and our annual gala will be in November, in January here in Houston. Okay. I'm excited. So here's what I want to do. So because, right, I'm low energy and normally I'm the one talking to y'all. Today, y'all are going to talk to me. All right. Y'all are going to talk to me. All right. So this is what we're going to do. And I'm going to throw something out there. I want you guys to respond in the chat. And based on some of the responses that I see, I'm going to respond to those things that I see and just pick out different things. Right. So where did I put it? Okay. All right. So let's look at tonight as kind of like a check-in, right? If you're at home, this is perfect for you because you can, sit down. If you're somewhere where you can journal or you can write this down or if you can put it in your phone, will be perfect for you. Okay. So I'm going to ask you a question and I want you guys to finish the question and answer it in the chat for me. All right. All right. Okay. Okay. I'm going to start with an easy one. um, I'll start with an easy one. Okay. So the first question that I have for you guys is our check-in question. What has gone well? Or I will say one thing that I'm excited about. Let's do that. So you're going to finish the question, one thing I'm excited about, and you're going to tell me what you're excited about. So put that in the chat. One thing I'm excited about is, and then you'll put that in the chat, right? For example, one thing I'm excited about is we're officially planning Heart Talks 2026. I'm excited about that, right? So we'll be able to release that up to you guys 4 to 6 weeks. Right? So one thing I'm excited about, I want to see it in the chat. All right, on TikTok, one thing I'm excited about, my new single coming out soon. Okay. Okay. I'm excited about the holiday season. I'm excited about breathing. I'm excited about this journey in nursing school. Congratulations. Instagram says, I'm excited about my new job going well. Yes, ma'am. I'm excited about my new job as a lobbyist, entering the quarter of 25. Absolutely. One thing I'm excited about is my growth, my relationship with God, getting healthy. Yes. I'm excited about getting my counseling license. All right. One thing I'm excited about is finding a safe and secure daycare for my baby. Yes. Going into 26 with less debt. Yes, ma'am. My new business, accepting myself. I'm loving it. I'm excited about learning how to truly love me. Okay, Miss O'Shawn. Miss O'Shawn is our TDF member. I'm excited about the meetup this weekend. Absolutely. We have a TDF meetup in Atlanta this weekend. Very good. I'm excited about my husband finding me. Yes, ma'am. I'm excited about getting my strength back. I'm excited about being in emotional stability. All right. Excited about God's plan for my life at 63. Yes, man. Okay, listen, he ain't finished yet. He is not done. Feeling comfortable in traveling more. Yes. Paying off credit card debt. I'm excited. Y'all got me excited. I'm excited about my career in law enforcement. Very good. I'm excited because I know it's okay to not be okay. Absolutely. Graduating from nurse. Y'all, can we get some hand claps in the chat? Some hand claps in the chat or the praise hands. I don't know what y'all do. The emojis, okay? Miss Katrina says the gala and seeing my daughter in her homecoming dress on Friday. Yes, ma'am. My walk with God. Excited about the upcoming holidays. I love it. I love it. If you guys have ever worked with me, you guys know before we dive into issues, I always start with what's already working. Okay. It is easy for us to get caught up in what's not working in our lives, what we want to be different or how we're trying to change. But don't ever forget that life could be going wrong in so many areas, and I can still be excited about something, right? If I ever was to have a superpower, I will fight to have something to be excited about. No matter what's going wrong in my life, I will fight to have something that I'm looking forward to, something that feels good. I don't care if it's just I'm excited that the sun came up today. Okay, I get excited because it's not raining outside. All right. So always, always, always never forget that No matter what's going on in your life and no matter what we wish was different, what we want to be changed, there's something that I can be excited about. Okay? All right, y'all got me excited. Who's ready for the next question? If you're ready for the next question, say I'm ready in the chat because I started easy. So we're going to progressively get a little bit deeper. We're going to progressively get a little bit deeper. If somebody said, Brittany, we didn't ask for a therapy session tonight, take that up with God. I don't know. Okay? We're going to get a little bit deeper. All right. So the next question I have for you guys. Very good. Very good. Very good. Okay. So the next question I have, remember, you're going to repeat and complete the question. Okay. So here's the next question. Lately, I've been carrying, and that's carrying like carrying. I don't know why I feel like I have an accent and y'all can't hear me when I say that. Lately, I've been carrying. What have we been carrying, right? So lately, what have we been carrying? So we're looking at what feels heavy, what feels like a burden, what feels out of place or out of alignment sometimes. And sometimes the thing we're carrying isn't always negative, but it just has weight to it, right? So, right now, what do you feel like you've been carrying that has some weight to it, and you recognize that this kind of feels heavy for me? So, answer that question for me. All right. All right. On TikTok, I see I've been carrying a heavy load. I've been carrying the past. I've been carrying frustration. Okay. Lately, I've been carrying other people's problems. All right. Lately, I've been carrying the burden of my job and my current relationship I'm not happy in. Lately, I've been carrying my past choices, the loss of loved ones. Okay. Oh, those coming in quick. On Instagram, lately, I've been carrying family relationships and health. I've been carrying my marriage. Lately, I've been carrying the weight of being the fixer in the family and trying to fix all things. Lately, I've been carrying the decision of filing for divorce. I've been carrying heartbreak from the past. I've been carrying rejection. I've been carrying the load of procrastination and some fear. Mm. Lately, I've been carrying burdens of schoolwork, graduating in May. Very good. Lately, I've been carrying the guilt of my job, a broken heart. Very good. On my TDF crew, lately, I've been carrying the emotional weight that does not belong to me. I've been carrying childhood trauma. Okay. Carrying my potential of success without knowing how to proceed. Very good. Lately, I've been carrying the realization of an anxious attachment. Ooh, yeah. Very good. Carrying a relationship with my mom, who's a narcissist. Lately, I've been carrying my past childhood trauma, been carrying the secrets that I'm finally ready to share. Very good. Very good. Childhood rape, carrying, wanting, and needing to end my 6-year relationship, the guilt of not having a full time job, social anxiety. Very good. I've been carrying healing from the aftermath of my divorce. Listen, this question, what I've been carrying, is where dysfunction begins. Okay. Dysfunction doesn't begin when we crash out and cuss out somebody. Dysfunction doesn't begin when I go off on somebody at my job. Dysfunction doesn't begin when I finally pick up my keys and I leave. Like, dysfunction begins when we start carrying weights that we have no outlet for, right? like I said, the weight that we're carrying is not always negative. You can have some really good situations happening. Having a baby is a good thing. Getting married is a good thing. Getting a promotion is a good thing. But they all come with a certain weight attached to them. And if we don't know how to carry our weight gracefully, if we don't know how to carry our weight well, then we will collapse under the weight that we carry. The reason why I ask this question is because I want you guys to see, like, even just looking in the chat, we are all carrying something. Right? This is one of the reasons why I give grace the way that I do, because I understand that even though I may not be able to see what you're carrying, I walk through this world with the understanding that there is nobody exempt in this life. Everybody has a weight that they have to bear. And I just may be carrying mine better than you're carrying yours, and it don't make me better, right? Because I remember seasons in my life where I did not carry my weight well at all. Okay, I was throwing tantrum tantrums about my weight, okay? So here's the thing. When we talk about carrying weight, what we first have to understand is that all weight that we're carrying is optional. All of the weight that we're carrying is optional. So that puts me in the driving seat of my life. It doesn't mean that I get to just opt out and say, I ain't carrying no weight. I don't want no responsibility. I'm not doing none of it, right? That's not what we get to say, because we're adults. We're responsible. We're taking care of people that we love, all of the things, right? But it does mean that I get a say in what I choose to carry, right? So when we talk about looking at our life, right? And I think someone said, what about mental health? Mental health can be a weight, but guess what? Mental health, unless it is a biological condition, it is a chemical condition, meaning that there is something biologically happening in your body that your body is not producing something. So you can have a chemical depression, you can have autism, you can have schizophrenia, you can have bipolar disorder. Those are disorders that are chemically, my body is doing some things that's stopping me from operating optimally, right? But the family members that I entertain, the boundaries that I set or don't set, the anxiety that I refuse to release because I got a little bit of a control issue, right? The attachments that I have that may be unhealthy, the jobs that are actually making me more anxious than making me secure, the fear that I hold about myself and about others that I haven't confronted, those are all optional. And this is where, and Katrina, I purposely did not list ADHD. I have my own beef with ADHD, right? ADHD is a true diagnosis, but ADHD is not all, but you can be diagnosed with ADHD and it's not because it's a chemical condition, right? If I grew up in a traumatic environment, if I grew up in a chaotic environment, I can start coping with life that looks a lot like ADHD. And you can even take ADHD medication for it and it'll help. But ADHD at that point became a symptom. It wasn't the problem, right? And that's why I purposely didn't list ADHD, because there are many people who are diagnosed with ADHD, but ADHD in many situations is operating more of it as a symptom, right? It's being caused by, it's not the cause of. So, yes, that's why I purposely didn't list ADHD. Right. So, and again, with mental health, everybody's situation is different. You need to be seeing a psychiatrist, get a diagnosis so that you know what you're dealing with for you. Right. But when we talk about the weights that we're carrying, we have to take responsibility that sometimes I'm carrying weight that doesn't belong to me. Right. And I think even when we talk about the way that it's just life, as a function of living life, you pick up weight, right? I think most recently for me, I picked up a weight that I knew didn't belong to me. I knew it didn't belong to me, but because I'm kind, because I'm compassionate, because I care about my work and what I do, it was hard for me to let this weight go, because it was something that was important to me, right? And so, but I knew it didn't belong to me. So as long as I carried this weight, I was anxious. As long as I carried this weight, I was frustrated. As long as I carried this weight, I was angry. And you can carry a weight that you know don't belong to you. And it's affecting your mood. It's affecting how you show up. It's affecting your hopes and your dreams and everything else that you want, right? One thing that I did do when I have, because TDF knows I'm the queen of detachment. I can detach from some stuff quick, right? So when it gets hard for me to detach, those are things that I do have to do. I have to bring in my spirituality and my faith in, right? To help me cope with that. It's understanding that one, I am not the end all be all for anything in my life or anybody else's life, right? Many times when we are carrying loads and we're carrying weight, especially when we talk about carrying people, it's because we're afraid that if I don't have the answers, I don't know what'll happen for them. I don't know what'll happen to them. I don't know if they can swim. I don't know if they'll make it. And so we pick up these weights thinking that we can save those around us, missing the fact that that you never had the power, the strength, or the resources to save those people, right? So at some point you have to release the weight of the people that I'm carrying, the expectations that I'm carrying, even sometimes the outcomes that I wanted to see happen. I have to release those and surrender, right? When you have a hard time carrying weight, the only solution is surrender. The only solution is surrender. I surrender to whatever happens. I surrender to it may work and it may not work. I surrender to we may make it out and we may not. I surrender to the relationship may work and it may not. I surrender to the business may happen and it may not. I surrender to it may work out this way and it may not. Here's the thing about surrender. I can surrender all those things because I'm clear that even if the outcome is not what I want, I, as a person, I don't have to be broken. I can be disappointed. I can be frustrated. My feelings can be hurt. I can cry about it. But who I am wasn't attached to what I lost. Who I am wasn't defined by what I lost. So I can lose some things. I can lose some people. Some things may not work out. I can release this weight. And if it works out, great. And if it don't work out, great. Right? And still know that I will still be solid, right? Surrender is something you do every day. It's not I surrender one time and it goes away, right? To truly surrender something means I stop touching it. I stop trying to find solutions. I stop trying to work on it. I stop trying to research it. I stop trying to figure out how I can make it work. I stop trying to find these alternate ways to make it happen and force it to happen. Surrender says I take my hands off of it. If it works, it works. If it don't, it don't. But I'm not trying to force it anymore, right? And when you take your hands off of it, it's like when you drive in a car and you take your hands off the wheel. I don't recommend it. Right? You take your hands off the wheel and you trust that the car will still drive, right? That's a whole thing. Because if that's a horrible analogy, because the car could absolutely wreck. And it means that wasn't a car for you. Okay. If somebody say upgrade in the chat, it's time for a new car. Horrible metaphor. But y'all get what I'm saying, all right? So I want to encourage us that do an audit of what all you're carrying, because I don't even think that sometimes you realize how much you're carrying. Do an audit of how much you're carrying, because sometimes what you're carrying, I promise you, it don't belong to you, and you can set it down. You can set it down because it was never your responsibility from the beginning. Right? I remember when I first started detaching from obligations of taking care of other people and showing up for other people. I had to first remind myself, like, Brittany, you were there, they were never your dependent. They put the expectation of you. on you to save them. There was an expectation because you were the smartest or you were the most capable or you had the most resources. So there was an expectation there, but you never consented to that. So it's okay for me to put something down that I never even agreed to. I just did it because people told me I'm supposed to do it. If you want to be a good woman, this is what you're supposed to do. If you're a good daughter, this is what you're supposed to do. And everybody got these supposed to do's, but ain't nobody putting in on this weight that I'm carrying. I ain't gonna get y'all started on my graduation speech. Listen, I've come a long way. Okay. So with that question, I want us to do an audit. All right. Do an audit of what we're carrying and ask yourself, for everything that I'm carrying, good and bad, how much of this is optional? How much of this can I put down in this season? And with where we are in the world right now, I've been saying this over and over, we have to pack light. We have to pack light. We can't keep going through the world collecting all this stuff. The world is so heavy all on its own. You don't need to add to it. I gotta pack light in this season. So if a relationship expires, let it expire. If a job lets you go, walk away. If something ain't working out, don't try to force it. Trust that I can surrender to what's not working to find what is. Right? Now, the mental health piece to that is that there's a whole bunch of coping skills that you use for emotional regulation as you're surrendering, because surrendering sounds pretty, but it feels so gross. Surrendering sounds pretty, but it feels so weak and it feels defeating and it feels disappointing. So many times when you surrender with tears in your eyes. Many times when you surrender hyperventilating, just hoping that if I let this go, it'll work out for my good. If I can just let it go, right? So surrendering is not always this pretty process that's taught to us. And so we do need coping skills that teach me how to control my breathing, that teach me how to reframe my thoughts, that teach me how to build a healthy community, right? And that's where the daily fix comes in. So the concept of surrender is an intangible concept. To make it tangible, that's where we have our coping skills. How do I actually walk that out? Because you're going to have to do it every day. All right. Who's ready for the next question? Because y'all have some amazing answers. We got to do this more often. Mm, 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 mm. All right. Next question. Okay. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Oh, I'm pressing the wrong button. Okay, one thing that I'm ready to be honest with myself about. And if you want to make that short, I'm ready to be honest about. And you repeat incomplete. I'm ready to be honest about. I'm ready to be honest about. What are we ready to be honest about? Yes, the replay will be on my YouTube channel. I'll make sure I post it in my stories for you guys. I'm ready to be honest about. I'm ready to be honest about what was my fault, putting everyone before myself. Be honest that I'm hurting. Ready to be honest that I know I need to heal. I'm ready to be honest about how I see myself. I'm ready to be honest about not being as strong as people view me to be. I'm ready to be honest that he is never going to choose me. I'm ready to be honest about I won't succeed at everything and need to give myself grace. I'm ready to be honest about what I learned when I was sitting with myself. I'm ready to be honest about my relationships. I'm ready to be honest that I can't do it all. I'm ready to be honest about lying to myself when I know I'm not in a good place. I'm ready to be honest that it's okay for others to have consequences for their actions. I'm ready to be honest that I can't be Miss Independent and I need connection with others. Very good. TDF says, I'm ready to be honest about no longer wanting to be the strong one. I'm not perfect. And I'm ready to be honest about the part I played in my own hurtful situations. Absolutely. I'm ready to be honest that I'm not okay. I'm ready to be honest about the brokenness that I push underneath the rug. Mm, I'm ready to be honest that it does take a village and I do not have one. And I do have one. Very good. Ready to be honest about my abandonment issues. Ready to be honest that I run from arguments, so I always apologize. I'm ready to be honest about needing help with boundaries. Very good. Ready to be honest that I no longer want to be his safe space when he continued to destroy me. Very good. I'm ready to be honest about my fear for the future. I'm losing my job. Ready to be honest about the resentment that I feel about the spaces of perfection I grew up in. I'm ready to be honest that I'm always defensive. Mm, very good, you guys. Ready to be honest that I'm the only one putting in work in the marriage. I'm ready to be honest about who I'm not, taking the mask off and embracing who I am authentically. I'm ready to be honest about needing help in my most vulnerable times. Very good. Mm, y'all, these are so good. I'm ready to be honest that I have control issues. I'm ready to be honest that I mismanage my finances. Yeah. I'm ready to be honest that I wasn't the perfect mom and I can't fix my grown children. Absolutely. I'm ready to be honest. You say I'm about to cry. I'm over here holding back tears. Listen, because this is where it starts, y'all. This is where it starts. You can't heal what you're not willing to be honest about. And so much about the healing process when I teach the stages of behavior change, so much of behavior change cannot happen until honesty takes place. And I'm not talking about the cute honesty. I'm talking about I'm being 100% honest about everything that happened, who, what, when, where, and why. Because out of protection of ourselves, we create stories that aren't really true to help justify where we are or how we showed up or who we're with. It's protection, right? We're protecting our ego, we're protecting our own feelings, we're protecting our own emotions, we're protecting our image because we don't want people to see us a certain way. And so we keep performing, and the performance gets exhausting. The performance gets exhausting after a while. And after a while, you just can't keep performing. And when you can't keep performing that I'm okay, that I have all the answers, that I have it all together, when you get tired of performing, the mask will drop, you guys. And sometimes it can be an implosion or an explosion, right? When you get tired of performing. So truth has to take place before we can actually change, right? And truth is a hard pill to swallow, because while it is true that there may be people in our lives who hurt us, they took advantage of us, they disrespected us, they didn't care for us, they neglected us, all of this stuff, right? We all have our own stories. And there's a quote that says that while it's not my fault what happened to me, but the healing of it is my responsibility. Right. And so when we talk about telling the truth and getting to a place where we're really ready to tell ourselves, because it really, it don't matter what you say to other people. That's not where we start. Where we start is telling the truth to ourselves. Yes, they hurt me, but I made a decision to self-destruct. Yes, they took advantage of me, but I made a decision to sacrifice my boundaries. Right? So the part that we got to get honest about is, yeah, they did the thing, but then you did a thing because they did the thing, right? Because they hurt you, you abandoned yourself trying to get their approval. Because they didn't love you correctly, you decided that you weren't worthy of love. And so you behaved in ways that demonstrated that that was a decision you made. Now, why I made the decision and how I made the decision, that's where therapy comes in, and we unpack that and we unwind that. But at the core of it, I made that decision. And you got to get to a place of healing where you could say, I made the decision, and understand that making the decision doesn't make me a bad person. Many times we made those decisions because I was a hurt person. I made those decisions because I was a lost person. I made those decisions because I was self medicating. I made those decisions because I was running and trying to escape my reality. Because I was running from my reality, I started spinning all of these lies and all these stories and all these things that weren't true, and telling myself these other stories that just weren't true, so that I didn't have to feel the full weight of my own self betrayal, so that I didn't have to sit in the yuckiness of knowing that I've disappointed myself as much as the world has, right? So when we talk about telling the truth is where the healing begins. And it doesn't have to be what happens. I think the reason why we lie to ourselves and other people so much is that we're afraid of what happens after I tell my truth, right? So if I tell them that I'm really not happy in the marriage, if I tell them that I'm really not into this thing, if I tell them that I really think I'm supposed to be doing more with my life, that if I accept the truth, and especially if I am vocal about that truth, I'm afraid of what happens next, right? Will they leave me? Will they talk about me? Will they laugh at me? Will they criticize me, right? Will I lose the marriage? Will they not want to work with me? And so we create a narrative, most times worst case scenarios of, if I tell my truth, this happens next, right? And here's the thing. Telling your truth doesn't guarantee a pretty outcome. And telling your truth doesn't guarantee that people will love you more or support you more or show up for you more. Telling your truth only ensures your own freedom. Telling my truth is how I get to live and walk through this life free and not bound by lies and deception, right? But telling my truth doesn't mean that people will like me. Telling my truth doesn't mean people are going to love me anymore. It depends on what the truth is. Telling my truth could mean that the relationship ends. Telling my truth could mean that we are no longer friends. I don't know what the truth is. But when I am living behind a mask, the only thing on the other side is performance and self destruction. So the goal of being able to tell my truth and live my truth is so that I'm not in a place where I am tearing my own self down at the extent of trying to keep up a lie. That's the point of the truth, right? When you look at people who are truly confident, right? And when people ask me how am I so confident? It's not that I don't have places where I have doubt. It's not that I don't have places where I'm afraid. It's not that I don't have places where I feel like I got work to do. I definitely got work to do. I don't think I'm perfect by any means, but what I am confident in, I know who I am. That's one thing you can't knock me off my square about. I may not know a whole bunch of stuff, but I'm gonna tell you one thing: I am a expert in Miss Brittainy Janae Noel. You understand me? Okay, I have studied her from sun up to sundown. Okay, from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet, I have studied her. Right. So when I show up in the world confident, I show up because I know who I am and I'm living in what that is every day. Right. And I'm not living in shame. And I'm not living in fear. I'm living in a place of acceptance of everything that I am, good, bad, and ugly. That's the freedom. So I can walk away from people who don't serve me. That's the freedom that you get when you stop performing. I can say no to things that aren't in alignment because I'm not afraid about what does or doesn't come next. That's my freedom that I get when I stop performing. When you are yourself fully, when you live in your truth, when you tell your truth, freedom is the gift that you get. Not people, not places, not things. You get freedom. Okay? Who's ready for the next question? Can we go a little bit deeper? If you're ready to go deeper, put deeper in the chat. Deeper in the, well, that sounds wrong. Put, just say I'm ready in the chat. Just say I'm ready in the chat. Okay, let's see what my next question is. Y'all say we're gonna do Q&A after dark. No, we're not. Hey, Miss Tamika, we miss you. I haven't seen you. Okay, very good. Y'all are ready. All right, y'all are locked in. The question I want you guys to answer next. I am done apologizing for and fill in the blank. I'm done apologizing for. I'm done apologizing for. Being myself. I'm done apologizing for existing. I'm done apologizing for being me, for having feelings, for wanting a better life, being a direct person, for not putting myself first, having my heart guarded, trying to find happiness, overextending, being imperfect, childhood trauma. TDF says, I'm done apologizing for loving me. Absolutely. For taking up space, for wanting better. I'm done apologizing for thinking I'm not enough. I'm done apologizing for my emotions and sensitivity, for not being completely happy. I'm done apologizing for walking away, for setting boundaries with my child. I'm done apologizing for saying no, for being too much, for being the one who loves deeply and never gets it back in return, for asking the smallest thing in support, for dimming my own light down to to cover others. I'm done apologizing for choosing me, for being me, for not accepting the things I choose not to accept. Very good. For loving the wrong person. Very good. I'm done apologizing for my calling. I'm done apologizing for feeling left out. Very good. For making myself easier to love. Very good. Okay. I'm done apologizing for not staying true to who I am, for setting boundaries and enforcing them. I'm done apologizing for not knowing my worth. Yeah. You know, there are a lot of things in life that we do apologize for and we should apologize for. Existing is not one of them. Having a human experience is not one of them. Loving someone is not one of them. Being a giving person is not one, right? I think that when we talk about apologies, we think about the apologies that we typically offer to other people. And today I want and even see in the chat that many of you have recognized things that you have to stop apologizing for from yourself, right? But the rule of thumb, right? In order to show up in the world unapologetic with other people, I have to be unapologetic with myself, right? That means I have to be in a state of self acceptance that allows me to show up in the world with red hair and, face on fleek and, being me, all extra, all types of extra, just because I want to, right? That expression happened because at some point I looked in the mirror and I approved. Not because I was perfect, not because I weighed the right weight, not because I looked a certain way, that I looked in the mirror and I saw everything that's beautiful and great about me, but then I also saw the parts that were flawed and the parts that had scars and the parts that were still a little wounded. And even those things, I looked at it and said, I think that's good too. I think that I mean, I hate that I went through it, but I'm cool with it, right? When you've reached that place of self acceptance, you come into the world and there's nothing anybody can say about you that would stop me from wanting to be me, right? You can talk about who you want to talk, say what you want to say. Okay, I'm cool with me, right? But I want us to know that our apologies don't always come out with our words. Many times it comes out with your behavior, right? That you may not say I'm sorry, or you may not say, "Hey, I'm sorry, I got in your way." Like literally, to this day, I have to correct myself. I think I was in was the grocery store, right? And it could be because I'm Southern, I'm Southern. My mama, traumatized me with adults. So even people my age or older, I am courteous, whatever. So I'm in the grocery store and we're in an aisle, and I'm standing in the aisle looking at whatever it was I wanted to purchase. And someone else came in my lane and they were trying to get around me, but it wasn't like I was in the middle of the aisle. Like they could go around me, is what I'm saying. There was space for them to go around me. But as they were coming my way and I saw them coming my way, I apologized and then I moved so that it would be easier for them to get through the aisle. And even in that moment, I stopped and I corrected myself and I said, Brittany, you deserve to be in this aisle just as much as anybody else deserves to be in this aisle. You weren't blocking anybody's way. You weren't being a burden. You weren't being inconvenient. What did you apologize for? It's sometimes ingrained in us that we don't even realize that we do things that move ourselves out of the way of opportunity. We do things that moves ourselves out of the way of good things. And we don't even realize that I'm minimizing myself and I'm discounting myself and I'm hiding myself and I'm putting others before myself, even in the smallest ways, right? even in the smallest of ways. And we say, because in the South, Candace, we from the South, so we'll say, oh well, I was just raised that way, and right, I was raised to be respectful. I was raised to respect my elders and all of that. But at some point, you got to ask yourself, who exactly are you apologizing for, and why? Because the deeper root of that behavior is, Brittany, don't be a burden. It's that little Brittany that felt like she was always in the way. It's the little Brittany that had to take care of herself at an early age. It's the little Brittany that didn't want to be a burden, that wanted to make things easy, right? And so even when you become an adult, there's little behaviors that you do that pushes you out of the spotlight, that pushes you out of the way of good things because you want to make something convenient for somebody else. And I think it is astounding of how thoughtful we are for other people. And I don't want them, to feel left out. I don't want them to have their feelings hurt. I don't want them to do this, that, and the other. And you never stopped and considered, well, what do I feel about this? I don't want myself to feel left out. I don't want myself to feel misguided. What do I want for myself? And it's really realizing that it's not an either or conversation, that I can be considerate of others and still be considerate of myself, that I don't have to choose me or them, right? It's not a me or them, but it is saying that as considerate as I am to other people, I have a right to be just as considerate for myself. And choosing to be considerate towards myself is not selfish. It's not self-centered. It's not misguided. It ain't, I've been raised bad. It ain't none of that. But it's recognizing that I have just as much worth and value as anybody else in this world. And that's what we stop apologizing for. That's what we stop apologizing for. And so when people come and they make offers, right? And they make an offer that's below your worth or below your value, I can confidently say, it ain't for me. I ain't your girl. That ain't gonna work. Not because there's anything wrong with your offer. You have a right to offer what you want to offer, but I choose what I accept. So when you stop apologizing to you, you will stop apologizing to others. You will stop apologizing for how you show up in the world because I got right with me. So at the core of the apology, go to the places in your life where you still have shame. Go to the places in your life where you're still embarrassed. Go to the places in your life where you feel the smallest, because those are the situations that you got to find closure with in order to get full acceptance. There are so many people who preach acceptance, but until you've gone to those ugly places and you've looked at the part of you that you are embarrassed about, the parts of you that you don't want nobody to know about, those are the parts that I got to get closure with in order for me to truly be in a place of full acceptance, to show up unapologetic in the world. Unapologetic expression is not a surface level job. We go deep. You got to excavate. You got to go down to the foundation and look at all the places in my life where I never felt worthy, or someone made me feel unworthy, or someone told me I wasn't pretty. Someone told me I wasn't this. Someone told me I wasn't that. There's so much people told us and we just held on to it for some reason, right? I got to go back to those places and reclaim what I lost when I decided to believe them. Reclaim what I lost, what I decided when I decided to believe them. Okay. All right. I got one last question for y'all. Y'all ready for the last question? Candace said this is Therapy Tuesday. It is. I know y'all thought I was gonna come and answer some questions tonight, but I said, I'm gonna let y'all talk to me tonight. I want to see what's going on with the people tonight. And y'all are doing a good job. Is it Miss Consuela? So she asked me about shadow work and the steps to deal with the dark side and how to manage them. I have a whole section of that in the Daily Fix. When you join the Daily Fix, there's a section in the Daily Fix where I talk about understanding self. Building your self identity is like building a house. And I talk about the different parts of the house. And the basement is where we discuss the shadow self. So join the Daily Fix. I don't have the table of contents in front of me, but I want to say it was one of our identity where we talked about how to define yourself, how to build a self identity. And we talked about the different parts of you. And so we definitely discussed the shadow self. Um, it's in the Daily Fix. Everything is in the Daily Fix. Okay. Last question. And yes, there will be a replay. It'll be on my YouTube page. I'll make sure I post it in my stories for you guys. Okay, last question. If you're ready, put ready in the chat. Ready in the chat. Ready in the chat. To join the Daily Fix, let me see. Oh, go to the dailyfix.co or you can scan that QR code. Okay, I see my readies. Okay. Thank you guys. Very good. Okay. So let's get this last question. All right. Now, when I ask y'all this question, I want you guys to really think about not who you are today, but when you create a visual image of the person you want to be in a year, 3 years, 5 years, I want you to think about that person that you're striving to become. And the question that I have, the person that I'm becoming deserves. The person that I am becoming deserves. So when I look at the person that I'm striving to become, what do they deserve from me? What do they deserve? Right? One of my guiding factors in my life for a long time was that I just said I deserved to give myself the life that no one ever gave me, right? So if I felt like I wasn't loved enough, I was going to figure out how to love me enough. If I wasn't taken care of enough, I was going to figure out how to nurture myself enough. Everything that I felt like I didn't get or I was robbed of, I said, I'm a find a way to make that happen. And so when we look at who you're becoming, what do they deserve? What does she need? What does he need? The person I'm becoming deserves true happiness. The person that I'm becoming deserves success, peace, and happiness. The person I'm becoming deserves unconditional love, respect, self-compassion. The person I am becoming deserves the healed version of me. The person I'm becoming deserves grace. Very good. Stability. Absolutely. The person I'm becoming deserves peace and love. The person I'm becoming deserves to feel and experience joy. Absolutely. The person I'm becoming deserves to care for myself and live free. The person I'm becoming deserves protection. She deserves to travel without guilt and a seat at the table that honors her. Absolutely. She deserves consideration, to be and feel safe, to breathe, yes, to celebrate me. Deserves life. Person I'm becoming deserves self-love. The person I'm becoming deserves everything good under the sun. Very good. Very good. So, what I love about y'all's answers is that one, I mean, don't we have so much in common? All of us, we all have so much in common, okay? To be healthy and whole. Space. Very good. Okay. For everybody who typed something in the chat, I want y'all to know that you just made an agreement with yourself, right? You just made an agreement with you. The thing about the person you're becoming, number one, the only person who actually knows that that person exists is you, right? You're the only person who knows and can feel what the next version of you is going to be, what the next version of you is going to look like. And it's an interesting concept because when I first started really visualizing the next version of me was years and years and years ago, right? And I'm in this place now where I have embodied the person that I used to dream about. Like, and I would be like, oh my gosh, I know what she looks like. She's confident. She shows up in the world like this. Like I had a vision, and that vision is very much who I am today. And so I get here and I'm excited and I'm happy because I'm like, oh my gosh, girl, you did it. You did it. What? You became her. You became the woman of your dreams. Look at you doing what you doing, how you doing it, you know, celebration. And as I get here and I sit here and I'm settled, I can already feel the next version of me. I can already feel the version of me who is way wiser. um, Settled. Like this version of me feels like lightning, right? Um, whereas the next version of me feels like an ocean, vast but calm, right? You have to create a relationship with the woman you haven't even become yet. You learn her. You learn how she moves, how she shows up in the world. Just fantasize about who she is. How does she dress? How does she talk? How does she speak? And then as I am living my life, I am making decisions as if I am that person. And then one day you look up and you realize, oh gosh, the transformation that has just happened, right? Because transformation happens in increments. It happens in moments. It does not happen in these big, extravagant things, right? So the becoming process, it starts with what you see. So I decided when I could see who she was, I said, you know what? Through hell and high water, I'm gonna give her everything she deserves. So when y'all said I saw a lot of peace, I saw a lot of peace in the comments, right? The peace is the outcome and the result of how I choose to live, right? Establishing peace is the outcome and the result of how I choose to live. So peace is not something that I'm, being granted. It's something that I am building. I am building a life where peace can thrive. So that means I have to become someone who moves in a way that prioritizes peace. So if I prioritize peace, then there's certain people I don't fool with, there are certain places I don't go, there's certain things that I do that cultivate an atmosphere of peace, right? That's what I mean when I say, what do they deserve? Because the truth is that for everything y'all put in the chat, okay, y'all heard me say an agreement with yourself. You made an agreement to do the things necessary to give them what they deserve. By doing the things, I am allowing that version of me to grow. I'm allowing that version of me to prosper. I'm allowing that version of me to flourish. But I have to do the things to get the thing. I have to do the thing to become the thing, right? That's what I get for trying to multitask. Hold on. Okay. So we're doing the thing to get the thing. I don't know what I clicked on, y'all. Hold on. Listen, and it's forever TikTok. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. I just don't be on TikTok. Like, okay, we're back. There we go. I couldn't see myself. Okay, now I can see y'all's comments. All right, perfect. Okay, so you just put in the chat, you just put in the comments the agreement of what you want it to be for yourself, right? So now, whatever you put in the chat, now you have to go and build a plan to make that happen, right? So the becoming process is not I want to become this big powerful person who operates in purpose and does these amazing things, because doing the amazing things is a consequence of becoming, right? So we don't make the amazing things the goal. The amazing things happen as a consequence of what you do. Right? For example, I always give the example, right? Um, and you know, it's by the grace of God. I'll tell you, it's by the grace of God that I knew I knew things before I knew what I knew. I can't wait to become a grandmother. That's the type of feedback I'm giving the grandchildren. Okay. I knew things before I knew what I knew. I don't know how I knew what I knew. I just know what I knew. And that's how I knew. Right. But I remember when I was younger, I would look because I don't, the woman I am today, I never had a blueprint for this type of woman. Right. I wasn't raised by uh, women who demonstrate or move through the world the way that I do. Right. And not that it's wrong or good or bad, it's just different. So I never had a demonstration for who I am, but I knew that what was demonstrated was not something that I wanted for myself. So that meant that I made a decision. I don't want to be that type of person. I didn't know what I wanted. So for everybody who's like, well, she told me to create a vision and I don't know what that vision is, that's fine. You're okay. Right? If you say, I don't know, I can't see it, cool, no problem. Start with what you know you don't want to be, right? So I was able to look out in the world and I could say, okay, based on what was modeled for me, the type of womanhood that was modeled, I knew that like there were some traits that I wanted to keep. And then there were some traits that I was like, absolutely not. Like that's not what I want for myself. That's not how I'm showing up in the world. I wanted something different, but I didn't know what it was. Because when you come from a background where you don't have blueprints, you just know you want something different, or you just know that you don't fit in, or you just know that this doesn't feel good to me. I don't feel in alignment. And so you don't really have the language to say what you want. And that's fine. Give it time to marinate, right? So I started with what I didn't want. And then as time progressed, I was able to move throughout the world and I would see women that I would admire something about them, right? I remember I went to when I first moved to Houston, I was going to a church, and the first lady of this church, sweetest lady to this day, sweetest lady, sweet, loving, kind, had a whole bunch of children. No matter, what was going on, in their family, she was always cool, calm, and collected. Like it didn't matter what happened. Right. Now that stood out to me because I come from a family who's very reactive. Right. So if something happened, like yelling, right. That's something that I don't yell. I don't yell. Right. Believe me, I'm from the country. My voice can get loud. I know when people like, does she even know? I yell. Okay. Put me in a game of dominoes and it can get real loud real quick. But it could be the smallest thing in the house and it's what y'all want? Why y'all sit down? Just yelling. Right. I grew up in a home that was based in survival. So it was very emotionally reactive all the time. So what stood out to me about her was that no matter what was happening, you still got this calm, cool, and collective person from her. Right. And so I went to God and I said, God, because I think I'm smart. I go to God. I was like, God, I want to be like her. I want to be able, no matter what's going on around me, I want to have the type of faith that everything will be fine. And I want to be able to withstand, because I was very reactive at that time, right? Very reactive where the slightest thing could alter my mood, right? And I hated it. I was like, I don't like that. I want to be able to go through my life and no matter what happens, like I could be cool and I can still be joyful. I can still be happy. Like that's what I wanted for myself, right? So that's where you start. You see things in your environment and you're like, I don't want to be that person, but I like how they handled this, or I like how they show up here. And then you ask yourself, can I get that type of stillness? Can I get that type of calm? Right? And so I prayed and I asked God for unshakable faith. And I'm telling you right now, that was not a smart prayer. Listen, in order to get unshakable faith, you got to be shaked. Okay? In order to get unshakable faith, you got to be shaked. Right? And so I got shaked. Okay? I got shook. Okay? I got shook up real good. Okay? And now, right, I've been shook enough, I've been shaked enough, I've lost enough, I've been changed enough, I've gone through enough that now when things start happening, it's unfortunate. Don't like it, but we can release what doesn't belong to us. We can release what no longer stays. We can release what has an expiration date, and I can release it gracefully. I can release it without resentment. I can release it without the fear. Right? And understand that everything in life has an expiration date and everything in life comes and everything that comes to me doesn't get to stay and everything that comes to me is not actually mine, but I get to enjoy it while it's here and I get to visit it. And it may come a day that it leaves and that's okay. And it leaving doesn't mean that I am less than. It leaving doesn't mean that I am to go without, because if something else leaves, it must mean something else is on the way. These are all the lessons that I've learned in the midst of that allows me to be the person that can have unshakable faith, right? So when you're trying to become, understand that the journey to becoming, it's going to stretch you, it's going to change you, but you have to keep the promise you made to yourself. And that promise is what y'all put in this chat today. I promised myself that I was going to create a life of peace. I promised myself that I was going to start prioritizing happiness. I told myself that I was going to start putting myself first. If that's what you said you were going to do, there should be behaviors behind it that hold you accountable. So I want y'all to take these things that sound very abstract and they're very loose goals and make them concrete. What does putting myself first mean? What does creating more happiness mean? I'll give y'all a preview to what we're going to talk about in TDF in the next upcoming month. But sometimes you got to remember you, right? I think we do such a good job of taking care of everybody else and being there for everybody else that we just forget certain parts of ourselves and we have to go and remember again. And sometimes because I think it's so funny that people say, I don't know who I am. And sometimes it's not even that you don't know, it's just that you forgot because you got busy having kids and you got busy going to school and you got busy trying to build a career. You got busy trying to do a whole bunch of different stuff. And along the way, you forgot you. And that's fine. But now I'm going to go remember, right? And it's through experiences, through experiences. So we talk a lot on the live about the what, who, what, when, where, and why, right? When you join the Daily Fix, as you guys can see, the dailyfix.co, or you can scan the code. The Daily Fix is where we do the real work. It's where we hold ourselves accountable. It's where you get individualized coaching on our Friday calls. It's where you have a community of people. Okay, we are a worldwide tribe. Okay, we have people in almost every little corner of the world at this point. Who's holding you accountable and who's rooting for you? Who support you. The way our tribe supports each other is crazy. I love them so much. But join the Daily Fix if you're ready to do some work. If you want to see me live, then go to thedailyfix.co and you can sign up to come to our gala. We have our New Year's gala in January. And the gala is where I will release what I feel the work of 2026 is going to be. Every year we have a theme. And so far, We ain't been wrong. We've been 3 for 3 so far. So we're going into our 4th year of the Daily Fix, and that's where I'm gonna talk about what the work for 2026 will be and how we're gonna achieve that. So go to the dailyfix.co for all things Daily Fix. Okay, I do have an Instagram. Everything is under Brittainy Noel. My YouTube is under Brittainy Noel. So this replay will be on the YouTube channel. All right, Brittainy Noel. You'll be able to watch this replay and the replay from last week. All right. And stay tuned. Am I going to give y'all a journal prompt? Stay tuned. Yeah, I'll give y'all a journal prompt. Because I said I'm going to start releasing some stuff from the Heart Talks tour on my YouTube page. So go subscribe to the YouTube if you haven't already, because I'm going to start releasing some of the 2024 YouTube, the 2024 content from the Heart Talks tour. So if you want to watch the longer versions of those clips, subscribe to the channel. All right. So here's the From the Heart journal. I'm going to give y'all the journal prompt to take with you. This journal you can get on the Heart Talks website. Let me give y'all that's not it. Let me give y'all the Heart Talks website. Heart Talks website. Heart Talks webs. Y'all want to know what I'm carrying? Listen, every year, the hardest part about the Heart Talks tour is finding venues. Okay. Luckily, I have somebody working on that for me this year, but Jesus, every year, finding the right venue is always the hardest part. So we'll be able to release where we're going to be going next as soon as we get all these venues locked in. All right. So your city may be on the little thing. What's it called? Schedule. Your city may be on the schedule. All right. So if you haven't got your journal, go to hearttalkstour.com to get your journal and scan the QR code. I'm going to give you a journal prompt. It has over 200 journal prompts. So many of the questions that I asked you guys tonight, those are questions that you can ask yourself here through this journal. The goal is to help you continue to do your work when you're not with me, right? So when you're offline, when you need to go deep within, but you don't always know. When you journal freehand, you don't always know what question to ask to go deeper. So these questions help you go deeper. All right. So I'm going to give y'all a prompt from the journal. Oh, I need help. I'm like, you do the, okay. Because I created it. And I'm like, all right. So I opened it up to just a random page. I'm going to read y'all the journal prompt. It's page 184. If you guys already have the journal, page 184. Toronto, Raleigh. Okay, Raleigh. Trinidad, North Carolina, Jamaica, Seattle. I do have a singing spirit, y'all. I be singing, okay? When I grocery shop, I sing. When I do the dishes, and it's just random stuff. It's not even real songs. I just make up phrases and just sing that. Okay. So page 184, the quote. Can y'all see that? Okay. The quote, I said all because it's on par with what we talked about tonight. It says, the oak fought the wind and was broken. So an oak tree fought the wind and was broken. The willow tree bent when it must and survived. So the oak tree fought the wind and it was broken. The willow tree bent when it must and it survived. That's the surrender, y'all. That's the surrender. When we don't surrender to what we can't control, and when we don't surrender to what's no longer ours, and when we don't surrender to the process, and we're not willing to release control, eventually we break, right? Surrender allows me to bend. Surrender allows me to be flexible so that when the wind is blowing, I can flow and I can move, but I don't lose my footing. Okay. That's perfect with what we were talking about earlier with submission. So the journal prompt on page 184, this is the section of the journal. It says standing in my power. So this part of the journal is where we're talking about building the unshakable version of you. The journal prompt question is, what's something I can do or tell myself on the days when I feel small to remind myself of just how worthy I am? Okay. What's something I can do or tell myself on the days when I feel small to remind myself of just how worthy I am? Very good. I love that journal prompt. And when you write the answers to these questions, I always say, especially when I'm writing something that's supposed to be for me, you have to write it in your voice. So if you just give generic, like you was kind, you was strong, you was beautiful, that's great. And it may be true, but it doesn't move you, right? So when you write those, when it says, what would I tell myself? When you're writing anything to yourself, it has to be in your own voice. It has to be in the way you talk to yourself. It has to be in a way that you would respond to it, right? So for me, it's always, all right, girl, now you know who you are, right? Like that's the tone because that's how me have conversations. So this is why sometimes affirmations don't really work for people because you have to create affirmations that are curated for you in your voice and your tone. All right. So that is the homework assignment. All right. I think that this went really good for tonight. All right. I think y'all did an amazing job. I want to thank everybody for being transparent tonight because y'all had me almost in tears. Okay. I appreciate y'all even taking the live seriously, like actually taking this as a moment for yourself to really just reflect and be honest and to show up and be vulnerable. Even in this format, I know that it's not always easy. And as always, I thank y'all for trusting me with your journey, trusting me with your truth. And we're going to be on now next week. Next week, I should be able to go live. I'm supposed to go out of town next week, but next week I should be able to go live. All right. So we'll be back on Tuesday. I'm trying to make sure I stay on Tuesday. Tuesday between 7 and 8. Between 7 and 8, I will be live. Okay. So if you want to watch the replay, go to my YouTube. Just search Brittainy Noel and it'll come up. Go to my YouTube and I'm going to post this on there tonight. So you'll be able to watch it. So y'all have an amazing night. TDF, thank you guys for showing up for me. I appreciate y'all. Y'all know I'm going to see y'all in the morning. All right. Everybody else, I'll see you guys next week. Have an amazing night and I will talk to you all very soon.